Okay, we're back at our products listing page. Let's talk about the content organization inside Webiny. So first of all, every content model you create will get a page just like this, where, let's say, next to products, if we have a content model for product categories, there will be a separate page just to list and view all of the product categories, right? So that separation on a content model level is one of the organization features inside Webiny. On top of that, you can then overlay the security aspect where you can say, hey, this group of users can only manage products and this other group of users can manage both products and product categories. So organization goes hand in hand with the ability to control who can do what in terms of the different parts of the system. Another layer of content organization is through what we call advanced content organization, or ACO in short. So ACO essentially stands for this view that we see in front of us. ACO allows us to, first of all, create folders. Let's say this is footwear. So we create product footwear. Inside footwear, let's say we can have another folder where we say men's, and we can do another folder women's, right? So we can basically have a nested structure, and whenever we have some entries, we can select them and move them to a specific folder or subfolder. Cool. Now, this allows us to, well, better organize our content. So when a content editor is looking for a specific product, sure, they can search for them, or they can just navigate the structure if they know where that product page is located, giving them a nice and easy way to navigate around. This left-hand side structure is predominantly used to organize the content inside Webiny. How you organize it on your website or your front end or your application can be different than what you have here, because here the content organization is designed for editorial purposes. But if you wish to reflect this structure on your front end, you can do that. There's also APIs to retrieve the structure and then display it on your own in your own front end application or whatnot. The other aspect of this ACO view is, first of all, there's this cog here. You can hide or show some of the predefined fields. So who created, when it was created, who modified it, when it was modified, and the status of that field, right? So folders don't have statuses, but if you go back to the product, we will see status. Another aspect of this product page is that you can sort things, and you can select all, or you can just select one or a couple of individual entries that you want, and then you can apply bulk actions. You can bulk publish, bulk unpublish, bulk move, or bulk move to trash. Then on individual items, you have the ability to edit, publish, move, and trash as well. Now, because Webiny is fully customizable, it's easy to introduce additional fields here that pull out and display additional attributes that are part of this content model. You can both introduce new columns, and then inside the individual cell, you don't need to just display the information. You can fully take over the rendering of the cell. So you can even render interactive elements that, let's say, can have a button that manipulates this entry. You can render, let's say you have a catalog of videos or some sort of media assets. You can render the preview of them here. So you, from the developer side of things, you can fully control and take over this whole view and also customize it to further enhance the content editorial experience of your content editors. All right, so this was quickly about the actual organization. Now, there's another added benefit to moving and organizing things through folders and subfolders, and that is a feature we call folder level permissions, or FLP for short. Say I want a specific set of my users to manage the content inside the men's folder, and a different group of users or team to manage the women's. Now, given the fact that your Webany Enterprise license has been activated and you've redeployed your project, if you click the three dots, you'll see the Manage Permissions button. Without the Enterprise license, this option would not be available. But essentially, the Manage Permissions opens a dialog where you can select both users and teams and assign them different permissions with regards to this particular folder. Right, so here I can say, hey, this user is an owner, or this user can only edit the content but can't change the ownership for other users, or this user only has view options but not edit options, or they don't even have access to this particular folder. But essentially, you can add those permissions on top of folders and use that as a very powerful mechanism to organize content across different teams and different editorial divisions within your organization. It's really handy. It really scales well with very large content sets and large teams that manage them. Another noticeable feature on this page here is the trash bin. So essentially, the trash bin holds any entries that we've deleted, and it holds them for a specific retention period. This retention period by default is 90 days. After 90 days, those items in the trash bin get permanently deleted, right? And within the 90-day period, you can easily restore those entries, but after the retention period expires, you won't be able to restore those anymore. So let's do an exercise here. We have this demo product. We're gonna now move it to trash. And this entry is no longer available. It won't be available on the read API, won't be available on the publish API. Essentially, this entry is gone from the system. However, we do keep it as I mentioned, inside the trash bin. And if you want to make it accessible and restore it, you can use the restore function. If you want to permanently delete the entry, you can use the delete here, which is going to permanently remove it from the system, and you won't be able to restore it anymore. Let's do the restore action. There we go. It was fully restored, and now it was restored back to the same folder that we deleted it from. If the folder didn't exist anymore, then it would be available and under the home. One more important thing to mention with regards to, let's say, content deletion, restoration, and things like that, is that any such, let's say, potentially destructive action, so any update or delete or create action, those actions actually get logged. So let's say that we even permanently deleted this entry from the trash bin. There are ways how you can restore it. One being that all of Webany Enterprise instances come with an audit log module. So if you go on the audit logs and logs, we can see here that, hey, at this timestamp, this entry in the Headless CMS was moved to trash. And we can have a look what happened there, as well as the whole entry and all of its attributes. So in case we need to restore something, we do have access to the full entry still in the audit logs. Let's now talk about different ways how we can search through our content. Let's go back to our products. Okay. First of all, there's a couple of rules here. If I go to the search bar here, that search bar searches across, let's say, text-based content inside our entry. So any field that's text-based, if I type in a keyword here, if any of the fields match that, it's going to show up in the results. So demo, and our product appears. We also have SD, I think, there because it's in one of the text fields, so it matches. Okay. Now, the other important thing to note is that when we're navigated here on the home folder, and if we search, it's going to search through all of the folders, subfolders, and everything. Okay. If we navigate to a specific folder, like let's say women's, right? And if we search here, it won't find anything because now the search is scoped to that particular folder. Okay. So we go to men's. If we look for ASD, it's going to match. If we look for test, I don't think it's going to match. There you go. So it's searching stuff inside that folder. Same thing works with a parent folder. So if we search, because now men's is a subfolder for footwear, if we search here for demo, it's going to match. Besides the basic keyword search, Webiny also comes with a set of filters. So by default, you only have the ability to filter based on a status. Right. But all of the filters, as well, in general, many of other parts of Webiny, they're all fully customizable. So there's an API through which you can programmatically extend this bar here and introduce additional filters. Say, for example, you introduced a new information here on the table. You can then also introduce a new filter so that your users can filter the content based on that new information present in the table. Besides the basic search and filter capabilities, Webiny comes with an advanced set of search filters. So if you click this button, it's going to open up a dialog. This dialog shows a list of predefined advanced search filters. We don't have any, so let's go and create a new one. How this works is you got filter groups, and you can create multiple groups. You can remove groups. And each group has one or more conditions. So let's do this. I want a set of records where category matches clothes, as well as the status is set to, let's say, draft. Okay. And I want that it is created after the 16th of December. All right. Now, what we can also do is you can see here that inside this filter group, we got two conditions, and they are linked with an AND, a logical operator. So they both need to match for this group to be true. And we need to match all of the conditions in both groups. That is, both groups need to be true because we have an AND condition between the groups in order to say that this particular record matches this filter. If we want, we can change the condition within a group. So now the conditions are set to OR. So either this or that for this group to be true. Or we can also do an OR condition. Hey, show me all of the records where the category is clothing and the status is draft, or just show me all the records that are created after this particular date, right? Again, so you can change it within a group or between the groups. All right. So once we're happy with our filter, we can apply it. And we can see the filter here. Click on it, it's going to show us the filter that we just applied. And if we want to save that filter so we can reuse it in the future, we can click the save filter, give it a name and a description. Then we can save and apply. And if you want to remove the filter, we just clear it, right? So now, if I want to reapply that filter, I can just go to Advanced Filters. Here's my filter. I can apply it, or I can also clone it and adjust it, rename it, and do other things. But let's apply it, and it matches the record. Let's now look at some of the search capabilities on the API side. So if we navigate back to the API playground, let's use the preview API. So here, first we got list products. So remember, the moment you create a content model, Webiny automatically expands your GraphQL API by adding list, get, update, create, and so on methods and queries for any of the content models you've created. Besides adding just the methods, Webiny introduces additional search and querying parameters. If we add where, this allows us to build more complex search queries. So where, and then we can say, if you again open the autocomplete, any attribute that's searchable or that we can filter on, that's part of our content model is going to be available here. So let's say we want to list all products from the category clothing. All right. Start simple, so data, and then we want to list our products. All right, so we got the demo product here. Now we can go with more complex filters. So let's do the following. Here, besides the attributes, you can also write and then and takes an array of filters. Now we can open a new filter and put the same parameter here. So it should still match with the same result set, which it does. But then we can expand it with an additional filter. Let's say title contains test. So this shouldn't match anything, but if you say title contains demo, it should match. If we remove clothing to say shoes, it should match. Similarly, with and, we can also use or. So either shoes or demo, which works great. This is, let's say, our intermediate complexity filter. However, you can chain and or conditions to as many levels as you want. Of course, this is going to add some computational overhead, so just be cautious with that. But essentially, there's no limit in terms of how many parameters or to which depth of filtering you want to go. If we move to our docs portal, so under the Headless CMS section, there's a page called Using the GraphQL API Advanced Filtering. Here we are expanding all of the filtering logic that comes with Webiny. So you can see here some of the examples. For example, here, these are simple ones, but we can chain. So we can do a parameter where and then give it a value of something. And then we can add an end filter, add more conditions under that end filter, and nest another end filter inside of it, and so on, right? Similarly, you can do the same thing with the OR filter, right? The same way as well, you can combine and nest both. So where, or, and, and so on, right? So it's very powerful in terms of what type of filters you can produce with this. Coming back to our Headless CMS evaluation outline. So we've covered now the content organization as well as searching and filtering content inside Webiny using both the user interface approach as well as the API. in the next chapter, we'll get to do some coding. We'll look at different ways how we can customize the Headless CMS experience by introducing the live preview, introducing content models through code, as well as doing an integration with OpenAI.